It's finally happening. We're going to be talking about the big games from Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips and what this means for their potential in the rotation for the Chicago Bulls. We're also going to be talking about 7 key takeaways from tonight's preseason loss where the Chicago Bulls lose 124 to 121. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so, yes, the Chicago Bulls lose the game after being up by as many as 21 points. We are going to jump into some key takeaways from this preseason game. So let's go ahead and jump into the first one. And it is that Zach LaVine is back. He had 28 big points today. More importantly, he was 6 of 6 from downtown, had 4 assists. But Zach LaVine looked like the Zach LaVine that we know that can go out there and get buckets. One of the things I talked about is just hoping that, we were seeing just the rust in that first game. And you got a chance to see him a little bit more extended into this particular game. But yeah, he looks fantastic. He went to the rim. He got a dunk. Again, knocking down shots and just having the ability to play off others and really help the Chicago Bulls play this up-tempo style. So Zach LaVine looked pretty good. And who knows, if Zach LaVine would have been in the game to finish out, perhaps the Chicago Bulls would have won tonight. So Zach LaVine looks pretty good. That is a great sign for the Chicago Bulls. And so as we move to point number 2, it is Julian Phillips. Julian Phillips looked very good tonight. He had 21 big points. I think he had about 8 rebounds as well. Really stacked the stats on tonight. But more importantly, the confidence in the three-point shooting, and you love that. And I think that he is showing every game that he should absolutely be in the rotation. One of the things Billy Donovan talked about is that, players are going to have to earn it. And you can see that Julian Phillips he's put in the time. He has come back from this foot injury. And I think in the summer league, many people were saying, look, it looks like he's starting off a little bit slower than they wanted. But I did not worry about that. I thought that he looked pretty good for me. And I think he's just ramping it up each game. And so it is good to see him come back and in another game for the Chicago Bulls and play very well. I talked about this in the last video. I said that this was going to be a good thing because Lonzo Ball did not play. It was going to give the Chicago Bulls a chance to give Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry some minutes. So worked out well for him tonight. So a good showing for Julian Phillips. And so that moves us to point number 3. And that is going to be Dalen Terry. I think that Dalen Terry played extremely well. He had some good rebounds as well. I believe he had about 8 rebounds, had 11 points too. Like he was pretty much all over the stat sheet as well. And you got a chance just to see, how Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips can impact a game. I think that, the defense was on display for them as well. And again, you get a chance to see that these players are ready for the rotation. He has put in the work. I talked about him working with DeMar DeRozan. I talked about him working out here at USC with Kevin Durant and some other players. And so it looks like he is focused and really ready to become a real impactful player for the Chicago Bulls. This is huge for the youth movement because the Chicago Bulls are going to be depending on these players, and especially Dalen Terry, where the Chicago Bulls picked up that the option on his contract to see him for another year. You are seeing why they went ahead and did so, went ahead and did so. And then now you see that Dalen Terry is starting to show for the Chicago Bulls. So this is good. As we move into point number 4, that is going to be Modest Buzleis. And so Modest Buzleis struggled from the field. He did have 5 points. He did have 4 rebounds, a couple assists. He didn't turn the basketball over. I believe he was negative 24 in the box score. Comparatively speaking to the first game, he had 12 points, the 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. The one thing that I do love about Modest Buzleis is, again, that competitiveness, because when the Bulls were down and they needed to take a shot, even though he had not hit a 3-point shot, he had the willingness to take the shot. It went down, and it was a big shot. It kept the Chicago Bulls in it, and this is what you love about Modest Buzleis, and this is something that Billy Donovan talked about. He talked about how are players, young players, going to really respond to a situation that is difficult. And I love the fact that he came out and he responded well. Now I want to see what he's going to do after, I would say, a down performance, because he did have something like this happen in the summer league, and I think he was able to go ahead and recover from it. I think that we are going to see a solid outing the next time the Chicago Bulls do play, but I do like the way he did respond down the stretch. And I know he got scored on at the end defensively, but still, I loved the intensity. I loved what he brought out there in a tough situation tonight. So a good start still for Modest Buzleis. And so as we move on, we move into the next point here. And then that is going to be Josh Giddy. I think that Josh Giddy went out. He did do his thing with the 11 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Only 3 of 10, and he was 1 of 4 from downtown. I talked about the fact that he is going to have to be able to knock down the 3 ball, because I think that teams are definitely going to really give that to him. And I think that once he gets a lot better, shooting that 3 ball, all right, the other stuff is going to already naturally be there, and it's going to get even better, as a playmaker, getting to the rim and things like that. But, Josh Giddy looked a little bit more fluent today. I think that could be expected because he was coming off the injury from the Olympics. So I think you're going to see a lot more of these kind of stat stuffing numbers that we know that we can get from Josh Giddy. It's just, can he become more of an unguardable player and one of those players that you must have on the floor in the clutch, because defenses are not going to be able to pack it in on you. And so, Josh Giddy, he looked a little bit better in this next game up. So I think that this is an encouraging sign for the Chicago Bulls. Next up, we move into Patrick Williams. And so Patrick Williams, look, he struggled again tonight. I mean, he was 1 of 9. I believe he did have a turnover today. Again, man, just looking for Patrick Williams to kind of be a little bit more assertive. He did shoot up 4 3-point shots. They just didn't go down. And, we're just kind of wondering with Patrick Williams. I mean, is he still just trying to shake off the rust, or, is he just one of those things where he's still trying to find it in his career? We're not sure. But, in game 2, we thought that we would see a little bit more of an aggressive Patrick Williams. Thought he would probably be a little bit more of an impact. Again, I know it's the preseason out there, but a tough one for Patrick Williams in 18 minutes, 1 of 9 from the floor. Did finish with a negative 18 box score, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. And he did have a turnover in this one, a couple turnovers. And so, all right, as we move on to the next point out here, it is going to be THT, and I thought that he played extremely well again. I thought that he actually knocked down some 3-point shots, and literally he almost shot a 3-pointer that he almost got fouled on, which could have maybe helped the Bulls secure this game. But anyway, THT super aggressive in the minutes that he did have out there. I love the fact that he extended upon game 1 and did knock down some shots. And I think that THT is quietly really just starting to show that perhaps he should be on the Chicago Bulls roster. I like how he's still bullying in, and I think that a lot of the guys trusted him to help close out that game. And like I said, the Chicago Bulls almost stole the game, just couldn't get it done. But at the end of the day, I like THT. I like the energy. I like the focus that I'm seeing out of him. It's just a matter of, who would be moved off the roster to go ahead and make space for him. But I think that absolutely he is really showing that there's a real possibility he could be on the roster when the season starts. And so as we move forward, we look at really the last thing, and that is going to be the box score. And you look at the key takeaways. Again, I know that, Jake LaRavia had a good game today. Jalen Wells had a good one. And 2, Zach Eddy, all right, because I talked about Zach Eddy on my podcast, just how well he had been doing just defensively. And also, too, I think that Zach Eddy's just finding ways to be effective. And I think that when he gets Ja Morant back, he gets Jaren Jackson Jr. back, I think that he's going to fit in just fine for the Memphis Grizzlies. And so, perhaps if we would have had Jalen Smith tonight, that would have helped us in the rebound battle. Speaking of which, when it came down to the team stats, we did get beat in rebounds for the total for this particular game. We got out rebounded 58-46. Again, I think that if Jalen Smith would have played, that probably would have helped us out a little bit. He missed the game due to a sore knee. So if you did not catch that, he did not play because of a sore knee. Also, too, as far as the assist battle, we were beat in that 31-26 assist wise. But there are some positives out of this when we look at the team stats, because the Chicago Bulls actually had the better three-point percentage in this one, 20 of 48 for 41%. They were 17 of 48, if I'm not mistaken, for 35.4%. And then fast break basketball. We did play well there. We were 23-10 in the fast break battle, so that's huge. We got into that playing style that we wanted. Again, I think we just needed a little bit more size perhaps to close this thing out, and that would have helped us out. We did give up the 21-point lead, so the Chicago Bulls were doing their thing. It was all Chicago until, again, Memphis started to get hot. They started to get on that run. They started to take advantage in the paint and really took it to us there with the physicality. But again, a nice showing for some of the young guys, especially for Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry. I thought that was a key takeaway. Once again, good for Zach LaVine and Josh Giddy to really shake off the rust. Modest Buzleis coming in and I think still being impactful in a tough situation, a game where it clearly wasn't going as well as he would like to. But I like the fact that he was aggressive out there and even aggressive at the end and really tried to help the Bulls get the W. Patrick Williams, we're still looking for it. Hopefully he's just shaking off the rust. Maybe we see something different in game 3, but it has been a tough outing for the first couple games. And so let me know in the comments, what was your key takeaway from the Chicago Bulls tonight in their unfortunate loss 124-121. I think that the Chicago Bulls still again, I think that they took a major step forward as far as finding out, who can perhaps be an impactful player on this team when this season gets ready to start. And so let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Before we jump out of here, I just want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing to the videos. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. I want to let you know that 64.2% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. And look, even though we lost tonight, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.